Today we're going to do a walkthrough of the exterior of this Creekside Outdoor RV 20FQ Titanium. We're going to start with talking about how to level up the vehicle and set it up in the campsite. So the first thing we want to do is we want to level the vehicle side to side. If we're off side to side, we want to roll up on blocks, whether it be 2x6 wood or the Lynx leveler wheel blocks. So you just want to roll up onto those blocks and get the vehicle level side to side. Once you're happy with that, we like to chalk the wheels so you can unhook and the vehicle won't roll or anything like that. So chalk the wheels, you can pull the vehicle away. Front and back is done with the electric tongue jack. So you can just hit extend and retract right up here on the electric tongue jack and level the vehicle front to back. So once you like how it's level and you're going to be staying in this position, this vehicle has electric stabilizer jacks. So you have a handheld remote, which we're going to talk about more later, but you also have wall switches up here. So front and rear. The fronts run together, the rears run together. Don't be too worried about if one leg is going to, reach the ground first. Once they both reach the ground, they're going to push together. So they'll both hit the ground at some point and push together and basically limit out. You can kind of tell how much weight they put into them and when to stop. And now you're stabilized and you are set. So you're leveled, stabilized. If you have a slide out, you can then run the slide out at that point. This one does not have a slide out. Also up here in this front compartment, you have a battery disconnect switch that you can simply rotate to off and it will kill the batteries, for storage purposes. And we can talk more about that in a separate video with solar and battery disconnects and things like that. There are backup cranks for the jacks and the electric tongue jack. So the backup crank is hanging up here along with the electric tongue jack. This vehicle comes with a barbecue hose, which will hook up here once we talk about the propane. The propane tanks, they are both open and on. You have an automatic changeover regulator. So I'd like to leave these open and loose. I can just check them really quick, make sure they're open. The pointer here on the left is facing this side here, telling us we're running this tank first. It's showing green, that means we're getting propane, everything's good. When this first bottle runs out, it'll go red here in this window and internally start pulling off the next open full tank. So in the middle of the night, if you run the heat, you don't have to come out here and switch anything. It's going to do it internally. If you ever see it showing red, it's telling you the one it's pointing to is empty. So then you know which one to fill up. So if that one is empty, you can rotate this dial to this side and go fill that bottle up. Always keep that regulator fully to one side or the other. Now here's the barbecue fitting. So this is before the regulator, which is really neat because it's high pressure. So you can use that hose that they provide and you can run a Weber barbecue or other barbecues that are high pressure. So being before the regulator rather than downstream on the side like some other RVs, you can run a lot more assortment of barbecues. We kind of talk about the tongue jack a little bit here. This has a light in the front, extend and retract, and a manual spot to crank it just in case. There is a 30 amp glass fuse in line on this wire right back in the middle, so just so you know, there is a fuse in line right there. This vehicle is equipped with sealed 12 volt batteries, but they're sealed maintenance free, so you don't have to worry about checking the water in them or anything like that. So it just takes the headache away from everything. Any sort of power coming to the trailer is going to charge the batteries, whether it be the vehicle towing it down the road, the power cord plugged in, or if you're plugged into a generator, and also with solar. Of course, this is equipped with a small 10-watt solar panel. It's also going to charge. Okay. With batteries, the only thing is you might take them off in the winter time and put them in the garage to keep them warm, or just stay plugged in and the converter will trickle charge them and maintain them throughout the winter time. In here we have your parts that we provide with the vehicle, which is a 20-foot sewer hose. We're going to have the fitting on that'll be ready to go to the trailer, and also the elbow that would go into the ground like in an RV park. A lot of RV parks require these. We also provide a water hose and a pressure regulator, which we're going to want to hook up if we're hooked up in the campground. And a power cord reducer or an adapter. We're going to go from 30 amp down to 15, and in the case where you might not have 30 amp in some locations where you might be parked. You just don't want to run air conditioner off of this. We're reducing power down. I'll talk more about that when we get to the cord here. Just working my way around in a circle here around the vehicle. This is where you fill the freshwater tank. So this is water you're going to take with you camping. So if you want to bring your own water, just fill it up. Go about half speed so you know it's venting properly. Fill it up about half speed. It'll pour at you when it's all full. There's also a monitor panel inside the vehicle. You can push the freshwater button and it'll light up and tell you that you're all the way full. The drain for it is right here, so you can just simply open this up and just drain it right on the ground. It's always good to just get rid of it if you're not using it for any period of time, so the water doesn't go bad just sitting in the tank. Here are the septic tank drains. We're gonna have the sewer cap on here, of course, but the valves are color coordinated, so the black handle is the black tank, that is just the toilet, and then the gray handle is your gray water, which is shower and sink water and that sort of thing. So you want to dump the toilet first. So pull the toilet, you know, and dump it first. Get rid of that, and then you have a pressure washer here, the Saniflush. This is think of that as a pressure washer for the septic tank. So you're going to dump the black tank first. When you hear that that's done flowing out, you can hook up a hose here and rinse it out as long as you want to make sure that tank is good and clean. It's a pressure washer that's spraying that right out. You want to leave the valve open when you're spraying so that it doesn't overpressurize or anything like that. Just let it spray and let it go. Once that's all done, then we like to dump the gray tank last, which will then kind of flush out your sewer hose so it's a little bit more cleaned out, and then you can store it back in the bumper. You just don't want to leave the septic tanks open in an RV park, especially the black tank. You need all that water that you have flushed down the toilet to be in there so that you dump it in volume. So you just don't want to leave it open. Liquid runs out, other stuff doesn't. You want to leave it closed, dump it all in volume at one time. Here is an outside shower. So there's a 60-inch hose. You can dock it here, hot and cold water outside to get cleaned up. This one here, it's not labeled, but this is what they call the city water connection. This is where you're going to hook up with a water hose in an RV park or campground that has water. So the only thing is you want to use a pressure regulator with that. A lot of campgrounds have really high water pressure, so we provided one with the vehicle. This is the refrigerator ventilation. Just don't block this. It's just bringing air across the back of the refrigerator, not through the roof. Mainly people can get in there to blow it out or keep it clean, but not a big deal. Mainly just a vent there. Furnace access, furnace exhaust, cable hookups here. The DSS is a satellite hookup, so that if you have a portable satellite dish, you can set it on the ground and bring that in there. And the other one here is just regular cable TV. This is the power cord provided with the vehicle. It's a 30 amp twist lock. You just kind of line up the teeth, give it a little quarter turn, and then thread this gray ring on, which holds that connection good and snug so you don't have a loose electrical connection. If that's all hooked up and getting power from the shore power, this little blue light will come on right up here telling you that you're getting power. So that's kind of nice. A lot of RV parks, they'll turn the breaker off at the breaker box that you're, or at the plug-in that you're, the pedestal that you're hooking up to. So if that's off, that'll tell you right away right there with that blue light. You can store the sewer hose in the bumper just by squeezing this and pulling that plug out. You can slip the sewer hose in there for travel. Spare tires all aired up and ready to go. This vehicle also has a 250-pound hitch receiver on the back, so if you want to haul, you know, a storage rack or bicycles or things like that, you have a nice hookup back here. Full walk-on roof. You can walk on the whole thing. If the vehicle has a slide out, you know, you just don't want to walk on top of that slide out. This particular one doesn't. You can walk on the whole thing. You just want to go up there and check your roof sealant at least every, 6 months. Just go up there, check the seams, check the vents, the skylights, and make sure the sealant is staying in place and looking like it should. If you see any cracks, pinholes, anything that looks questionable, they use Dicor rubber roof sealant, and it's self-leveling. You just goop it over the spot, and it is sealed up and good. You just want to prevent a leak before it ever starts. So just doing some maintenance, looking it around, looking it over, really helps and makes a big difference. So rubber roof specific sealant on the top. Now anything that you need to seal on the sides or want to seal on the sides is just regular rubber silicone. So typically if they're doing any moldings or whatever, it's just clear rubber silicone. So, but it doesn't hurt to just look it over a couple times a year, make sure it's staying sealed up tight and prevent any sort of water intrusion there. So the last thing on the outside here is this electric awning. There's a wall switch in there just to extend and retract. You just hold that button down and take it out as far as you want or all the way to full extension. With this awning, when it's all the way fully extended, there's a black knob right in the middle of the arm. In that knob, you can loosen and depress the arm down and slope it for the rain. So you can loosen that knob, pull the arm down, tighten it, and give that awning a pitch, and that rain will run off and not pool up or anything like that. Now you'll want to obviously loosen that, extend it back up, tighten it again to bring it in. And this one also has a remote control, which is very nice. You can stand back and run it with the remote control. With awnings, of course, really watch the wind. You know, any sort of, you know, gusting wind. If your gut tells you it's getting a little bit windy, you better bring it back. So that is it for the exterior walkthrough on this outdoor RV 20FQ Creekside Titanium. So now we'll do the interior.